Hello and welcome back to Hanksy Panksy Honor Among Reeves, a podcast where two dumb idiot best friends absconded with Tom Hanks, purloined Dwayne Johnson, and are about to be absolutely mugged by Keanu Reeves. I'm Sam Siegel, and I'm stealing your seat at the high table.
Oh, damn it. I really wanted that seat.
It's mine now.
It is yours, which means you probably killed me.
It killed someone.
Yeah, true. Yeah, this week I am Luke Patrick. I am the sommelier.
Oh, okay.
Which you'd think means I know a lot about guns, but given how little I know about guns, I don't think I would be particularly good. I'll just be like, I don't know, this one looks like a gun.
Yeah, this one seems to shoot.
This one seems to shoot bullets, which I think is pretty good.
It is kind of what you look for in a gun.
Yeah. But that's me this week.
All right. Obviously, this time we finally watched 2017's John Wick Chapter 2.
Yes.
Luke, how was that watch of yours?
Early.
Mm-hmm.
Really wanted to watch this movie, just kept kind of like putting it off.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like super tired on Friday, and then Saturday, we just wanted to chill. And so we were like, we'll watch it in the morning. So started at 6 a.m. on the dot, which has kind of been a theme with me lately.
Yeah.
Watching these flicks at the crack of dawn, even before a little bit.
Yeah.
But unlike some of our more recent watches, gotta say, John Wick 2, even at 6 in the morning, goes down smooth. So yeah, really had a pleasant time. No standing was involved. Lots of coffee was consumed. It was fine. Sam, did you have an extra special watch this time?
I did have an extra special watch. A lot actually happened with my watch. So let's rewind all the way back to Friday.
Okay.
I took half the day off. I went and got lunch with my Wick Week crew, which would be my cousin Rita and a friend of the podcast Marvin. And we went got a nice lunch, and then we did go over to the gun range.
Oh, do tell. Do please shoot and tell.
Yeah, so we started with a nice simple little number, just a 9mm pistol.
Nice.
Fired beautifully. Was a nice amuse-bouche, if you will.
Sure, absolutely, I will.
And then curiously, from the amuse-bouche, we went to basically the same pistol but compact.
Okay.
And that was exquisite.
Really
nice. Love the little compact pistol, apparently. And then from that point, we went bold. We went blustery. Okay. Because, Luke, I fired an AK.
Oh my God.
Yes.
A gun that I am familiar with mostly from playing video games. But yes. I am familiar with it nonetheless.
Yes, I fired a full 7.62 cal round AK.
Damn. And since I'm the sommelier, how was your tasting experience, sir?
Was it extremely loud? It was. Was it difficult to aim? Of course it was. Did it bruise my shoulder? Yes. But Luke, was it some of the most fun I've ever had in my life? You know it was.
Nice.
Oh my God. Every aspect of the experience. Because last time I did a version of an MP5, and that was great. Doing an H&K slap, wonderful. Love it. Very few things beat it, except loading, cocking, and firing in AK is such like a wonderfully chunky, tactile experience.
Yeah.
Because like the magazine, kind of there's a little nub on it that like kind of hooks in, and then you rock it into place, and then pulling the charging handle to cock it.
Yeah.
Is so like, Luke, think of the chunkiest keyboard. Clack.
Oh, now you're talking my language.
Yeah. it is very similar to that. And it's just this like very mechanical, like and
Oh
it
yeah.
feels so good. And then you squeeze off that first round and it slams into your shoulder. And the bullet goes, I don't know where.
Yeah.
Um, but God, it feels good. It feels
Nice.
so good. So we did fire that one. And then we decided we need to cool off a little bit. So we
Yeah.
did
Yeah, you would like, let's say like a nice like sweet wine to start with,
mhm.
maybe like a nice white dry, and then you went full flavored Malbec, like
Yeah. Or
real deep rich tones on that guy.
or thematically appropriate, a straight shot of vodka.
Straight. Yes, actually, yeah, you're 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
You had some nice white wines and then just pounded a shot of Jaeger.
Exactly. So at that point we needed to calm down for a minute. And
Yeah.
so we went to this Romanian weapon that is essentially like a small AK with
Okay.
no buttstock, but it fires 9 millimeters, so like pistol rounds.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha,
that
gotcha.
also so fun.
Yeah.
Had a real nice noise to it, great time. And then of course to round things off, we did go back to the AK and
Of course.
fire
You
20
gotta
more rounds with
finish.
that.
Everybody knows when you're drinking, you need to start small,
Mm-hmm.
immediately go as big as possible,
Mm-hmm.
drink something in between, and then go back to finish off the evening with the
Yes.
heaviest, like a full bottle of absinthe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about the denizens of the gun range for a
Yes,
moment
please.
because it was
Who?
interesting this time.
Yeah, who was there, my guy?
So when we first showed up, there were a few kind of younger dudes who were firing off some rounds, whatever. I
Yeah.
did I did notice that they kept their gun in a shoebox, which is different,
Interesting.
very different. Uh,
Yeah, definitely not a gun case.
no,
That's a shoebox.
it is a
Yeah.
shoebox. They left because they were there before we got there, and then
Yeah.
this kind of I would say like middle-aged man came with his mom, and
Oh.
they both had gun cases, and he was teaching her how to shoot, and she was absolutely gleeful. And it was, my guy, one of the sweetest things I've ever witnessed because he's
It's
teaching her
yeah.
gun safety, he's teaching her how to aim. If you ignore the part of like he is teaching her how to defend her home and kill someone should they enter it,
Yeah.
ignore that part,
Yeah,
please.
ignore the big nasty bugbear in the room.
Mm-hmm. Look, when you go to the gun range, and you're not super conservative,
Yeah.
or I would say wholly against, or if you are wholly against the Second Amendment, like some of us are,
Sure.
um, you really have to compartmentalize your brain.
I mean, it is weird because you're walking into a building where there is, and this is the only place this happens.
Hmm.
There's a tacit understanding that everybody in this building is gonna shoot a gun and
Everyone's
is
gonna shoot
okay
a
with
gun
shooting a gun.
and is practicing killing a person,
Yes.
which is weird.
Yeah.
You don't go to like a Pizza Hut and people are there stabbing pizzas as though they are an intruder.
Yeah, you got to get your grouping right when you go to Pizza Hut.
Hmm. It's so it's a different experience to be sure.
Yeah.
Um, so you ignore the part where it's like I this people shouldn't have guns.
Yeah.
Um, and that it's creepy that people want a gun in their home so that they can murder someone who is breaking into their house. Because I will, and I'll go on record saying this, I would much rather be shot in my own home by an intruder and have all my shit taken than have to kill someone.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want that on my conscience.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, don't want that. So,
You know who disagrees vehemently?
Ron DeSantis.
Yes. He would love that.
Hmm.
But that's not who I was aiming at. That
Mm,
is a very good point, though.
yeah.
But John Wick, it's
John
a
Wick,
man
yeah. He's
who
pretty comfortable with it.
he's got no scruples about putting
Mm-mm.
that on his soul. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was them. And they again, he's teaching her gun safety. He's
Yeah.
showing her how to aim. He is a hell of a shot, let me say.
Oh.
It was impressive, and he was very friendly. And then there was like a younger couple who seemed to be on a date.
Hey,
Um,
it's what I'm learning here is that the gun range can forge connections in a lot of unexpected ways.
yeah, yeah. So they seemingly were on a date. They, were going back and forth shooting. And then they got the AK while we had that Romanian number. And they seemed to have a good time with that. Then there was a single white male in kind of all black, now that I think of it, who did come with a single pistol and fired off a lot of rounds, I'll say,
Hmm.
and was really practicing. And there is something unsettling about a
Yeah.
single white male who's just there to shoot and shoot and like practicing shooting with one hand and like practicing like pulling up the gun and shooting. And then he does turn around and he's got a cap that says Black Rifle Coffee Company. So he's very conservative. And you're like,
Yeah.
this guy, he's bad news.
He's bad news. This is the reason why no one should have guns. It's
Correct.
this guy.
Now I want to talk about the last person.
Okay.
So while we were shooting, I believe the AK, um, this like big burly dude comes in.
Yeah.
Um, and he looks like a real hard ass.
Okay.
Like kind of big, shaggy beard with a little bit of gray in it. He's got a
Yeah.
face tattoo. He's real serious. He's carrying a bag, like a rifle case,
Okay.
right? And like another case that I later found out was full of fully loaded magazines.
Oh.
Um, and he's also wearing a black cap backwards.
Okay.
And so the front of the cap that is now facing backwards does say suicidal tendencies. Weird thing to wear to the gun range.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seeing as to shoot a gun on the range, you do have to certify that you don't have suicidal tendencies.
Yeah. I'm pretty
So
sure that's a band.
I look, I don't know. I just know what this dude was
Yeah.
rocking.
But here's the problem. Sorry, I shorted out for a second because if
Uh-huh.
it's the band I'm thinking of,
Mm-hmm.
they were from the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
maybe earlier, late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
They're a very particular flavor of not good.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. At least in my opinion. So it's
Okay.
basically like this guy showed up wearing like a Nickelback hat.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
as you've pointed out, the verbiage of
Mm-hmm.
this band name is not ideal for going to a gun range.
Yeah.
Now, if someone showed up in a Nickelback hat, I would be worried for similar
Yeah,
reasons.
they are also a suicide risk.
Yeah, exactly.
In any case, so he pulls a chair up to his booth, his lane at the gun range, which I
Okay.
thought was curious. And then he opens up his rifle case, and it is an AK with
Oh,
a very long barrel and a bipod. Um,
okay.
and so he set up a target that was just a bunch of bowling pins, actually, little drawings of bowling pins with targets on them. And he sends that pretty far down the lane. And he sets up his bipod and he proceeds to shred the center of the target.
Oh,
Dude is a crack shot. Um,
Jesus.
and he had, I'm not joking, probably 6 to 8 magazines fully loaded. So like 30 round mags. And he was just popping them off, going one by one. And Rita Marvin and I were all like, huh,
Huh.
hmm, hmm.
Hmm.
Side eyeing this guy pretty hard. Um, and then he sets his AK up so the barrel is resting on his backpack,
Mhm.
and firing shots like that. So it's kind of stabilizing like a bipod, but not. So he does this for quite some time. And we started quietly referring to him as the sharpshooter.
Okay.
Um, and so Uh, he occasionally would turn around and like throw away his target sheet and put up a new one. And at one point, he walked past while Rita was shooting the AK, and he goes, "Oh, is that Romanian 9 millimeter number?" And Marvin and I were like, and I was like, "No, that's 7.62." And he goes, "Oh, so that's an AK?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, that's a nice one. Someone had that Romanian one." And I've been pretty interested in it. It seems like an interesting one. And I was like, "Yeah, no, we had that one before. It was pretty funny." He was like, "Oh, nice," and he gave me a thumbs up, and then went right back to doing what he was doing. And
So
Marv,
reading your accent here, and
mm-hmm.
this is kind of like a game of telephone. This sounds like this guy wandered down from Wisconsin.
And was the kindest man.
Yeah, the kindest guy in Wisconsin who is also terrifying with an AK.
Yes,
Um,
deeply.
went to the gun range to have just a swell day there, guys. Out here at the gun range, just gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, set up my bipod with my suicidal tendencies cap and, fire off probably, 280 rounds or so.
Is there a pocket of people in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, of like suicidal tendency fans
I have
that
no
are
idea.
just keeping that Spotify channel alive?
I don't know. I All I can tell you is that Marvin and I were just dumbstruck
Yeah,
because this is not anything we expected from this man.
yeah, yeah, man. People, you just
Yeah.
you just never know with people, and that's the beautiful thing about
Mm-hmm.
living.
So, from that point, came home. My wife went off to go run some errands and hang out with her sister for a bit. So it was just me and the boy. So it
And the wee
was
baby
boys'
Keanu,
night.
boys' night.
Boys' night. With my son Lewis, and so gave him a bath. He had a nice time. I ordered some dinner. We started the movie, and then he fell asleep during the movie.
Yeah.
It did start to stir during the gunfight in the catacombs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because his kind of eyes would he'd like open them for a minute and then close them again, and then Keanu Reeves would blast someone with a shotgun and his eyes would fly open, uh, and then he'd kind of doze back off, and then Keanu Reeves would blow someone's face off, and then he'd
Yeah.
startle awake again. Um, and so I watched an hour and then I just stopped. I
Yeah.
like I don't know what it was exactly, but I was like, I don't actually want to keep watching this.
Yeah.
So I fed Lewis, put him to bed, hung out, watched some other stuff, and returned to it in the morning. Uh,
Mm.
but I
That was
like
the original plan. I was going to watch an hour last night and then
mhm.
watch the rest this morning at 6 a.m. That didn't end up happening. Let's talk about it. We'll talk about it here in a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much my watch. The only other thing, so this was the first time that I've watched a DVD.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
because I convinced you to go out and acquire this little number.
Yeah, largely because when I watched the first one on a streaming service, I believe Peacock, it had no subtitles when the movie is definitely supposed to have subtitles
Yeah.
for the
Yeah, it
Russian
is.
in it.
Yeah.
So I did buy the DVD of it. And that's how I watched it. I found it very difficult to balance the audio.
Really?
Yeah, because either the dialogue was so quiet I couldn't understand a goddamn thing,
Yeah.
or the gunshots were so loud uh, that I was worried it was hurting my son's ears.
Yeah. 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 I hear you. I hear you, man. I have like this whole system like with my soundbar where it boosts voice stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can do that too. I just
Yeah. But
didn't
the
feel like it.
the other pro tip is that I just watch everything. I can't hear in my left ear all that well, so
Hmm.
subtitles, my dude.
I did eventually have to do that. I don't like watching with subtitles because I end up only reading the subtitles and not watching the movie.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, I've gotten so used to it that it feels weird if I'm watching something and subtitles aren't on.
Yeah,
So,
can't do
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
Um, Also, Luke, I know we're running a little bit long with this, but
Yeah.
it is time for everyone's favorite game show, Lone Lever Love.
Hell yeah.
A
As
podcast.
always, so excited to play.
It's the game show sensation that's sweeping the nation. It's since the time that my son was born, and I came back to the podcast, I started 51 movies that I
Yeah.
ever either watched by myself, or I dipped out of, or I watched with my wife, the love of my life.
Yeah.
So, Luke, you have to guess uh, which of these three movies I watched with my wife,
Yep.
I dipped out of, or I
Mm-hmm.
watched alone.
Yeah.
And so, what I have for you today is, let's go with, let's go with, I think you're going to have an easier time with this, I'll tell you that.
I don't know that at all.
Harriet the Spy,
Harriet the Spy.
Good Burger 2,
Okay.
um, and Extraction.
All right. I'm batting 0 for 3 on knowing any of these.
You don't know any of these movies?
I don't know any of these movies at all.
Okay. Would you like a brief explanation?
Yeah.
Okay. Harriet the Spy is a 90s Nickelodeon film starring
Okay.
Michelle Trachtenberg and Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay.
And it chronicles Michelle's character, Harriet, who basically likes to pretend to be a spy. So she's
Okay.
got a little kit. She writes everything down in her journal. Some drama ensues with her friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get that. Also, Rosie O'Donnell is her nanny,
Okay.
um, named Gully.
All right.
Good Burger 2, of course, is the sequel to the 90s Nickelodeon hit film Good Burger,
Okay.
starring Keenan and Kel. It was released on, I believe, Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
And it is about the continued antics of Keenan and Kel as they run their fast food burger restaurant, Good Burger.
Yeah. Presumably run it right into the ground.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
And then Extraction is a Netflix original starring Chris Hemsworth, in which he is kind of a mercenary who is trying to save a kidnapped boy in, is it Mumbai or Calcutta? It is in India. I do not remember the exact location.
Yeah.
And he does grievous acts of violence on his own to find and extract, hence the name, this boy who is the son of a drug kingpin.
Okay. How is this supposed to be easy?
I figure it's pretty easy.
Okay. I think Extraction you did by yourself.
Okay.
I feel like, hey, love of my life, do you want to watch this? You said Chris Hemsworth, right?
Yes.
This Chris Hemsworth Netflix movie where he's kind of John Wick in it, but also a Taken.
Mm-hmm.
That screams watched it by yourself.
Okay.
This is where it gets tricky.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I think Good Burger 2 is a bounce.
Okay.
And then I think Harriet the Spy was it together. And yeah, I think you guys finished that one. I'm probably 0 for 3 on all of these.
Luke?
Yeah.
I regret to inform you. You're 3 for 3, baby. You are 100% correct.
Oh my God.
Now for bonus points.
Yeah.
How far did we get into Good Burger before we dipped?
I'm gonna say 15 minutes.
You're very close. It was 10. It was 10 minutes and we bounced hard.
Yeah, I just feel like that one sounds like it's going to be a fun trip down memory lane.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you realize the mistake you've made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That pretty much was it. Now, Harry the Spy was a fun trip down memory lane for me because I watched that flick all the time when I was a kid.
Nice.
Kenna had never seen it. She thought it was okay. I still love it. And
Nice.
I learned that a lot of the things in that movie live rent free in my head.
Isn't that always the truth about
Mm-hmm.
like we booted up the Shrek trailer the other day because we were
Uh-huh.
like, I wonder if this movie still, well, one, we wanted to know if the trailer, if it was during that wonderful golden age when every trailer had a guy that started it with like
In a world.
in a world.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, the trailer does
Excellent.
have that guy.
Excellent.
And two, I could quote every scene in that trailer. So I'm thinking it still holds up, and then I could
Mm-hmm.
probably knock off all the dialogue in that flick.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
anyway, I am fucking psyched that I have increased the number I've gotten correct like exponentially
Oh yeah.
today. Yeah.
It's interestingly, Extraction was almost a leave because I started it and I was like, no, I don't want to watch this. And I dipped after about 15, 20 minutes. But then I came back to it several days
Oh,
later. And my guy, if you like John Wick, give Extraction a watch.
okay.
It's a solid flick.
Nice. And it's got a Hemsworth.
It's got a Hemsworth.
It's
It's
pretty
got,
good.
I would say, one of the better Hemsworths.
Yeah, it's got probably the top shelf Hemsworth in it.
I don't know. I won't lie, I like a Luke Hemsworth.
A Luke Hemsworth is an underdog
Yeah.
in this arrangement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
famously, Ken and I have ranked the Hemsworths.
Yeah.
In I believe a Patreon exclusive.
Yeah. Patreon.com/Hanksy Panksy.
Hmm. But
Um,
Luke, it is time for us to talk about John Wick Chapter 2.
30 minutes in.
30 minutes in.
Yeah.
A lot of preamble to this one, but the gun range really needed to be dissected. And
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've got some fun stuff planned for the next two John Wick film trips to the gun range. Let me tell you, Wick Week is
Nice.
gonna get spicy.
Gonna get
So,
spicy.
do you have the plot? Can you break down the plot of John
I'm
Wick
gonna
Chapter 2?
Yeah, I'll paint a sketch of it because same rules as John Wick 1. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's John Wick 2, baby.
Yeah.
Like, it's a career defining movie for our boy Keanu. It's
Mm-hmm.
the sequel to possibly the biggest movie in his career. Um, Debatable whether The
Sure.
Matrix, but go see John Wick 2. But basically, it picks up right where the last one left off.
Mm-hmm.
And him getting his car back from the Russian mob, killing a bunch of people,
Mm-hmm.
doing some fun stunt driving. Um, and then it sort of builds out the world a little bit more. We get
Mm-hmm.
just like a little bit more exposition about how like the Continental works, and like there's this marker system where he owes this Italian guy
Mm-hmm.
um a favor, and so he gets called back in. The guy blows up his house to
Does
convince
blow up
him,
his house.
yeah, to like honor the mark and come back into service. He goes and kills this guy's sister. Obviously, the guy tries to kill him because he's the loose end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a revenge plot again of John Wick going after this guy. And but the interesting thing, I mean, he does John Wick stuff, folks. He
Yeah.
kills a bunch of people. He works his way through the organization. Um, but at the end of the movie, he kills everybody, including the spicy henchman or
Mm-hmm.
hench lady, hench person. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
their situation. And the main dude, the Italian guy, goes to the Continental, and so John Wick shows up. You're not supposed to kill people on Continental grounds.
No business on company grounds.
No business on company grounds, except this guy. So Ian McShane is like, you gotta walk away. And the guy starts to say, yeah, Jonathan, just walk. And then he gets plugged in the head
Yes.
sitting in the lounge of the Continental. So obviously the movie ends with John Wick being burned
Mm-hmm.
on the wire. Like, he's become excommunicado and he's running through New York. And New York appears to be nothing but assassins.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Which I do want to talk about how viable a career it is to be an assassin,
Mm-hmm.
because it seems like everybody in Central Park is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just these are the people that are hanging out in Central Park on a random Tuesday morning.
A lot of people to kill in Central Park, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good place to do it. But yeah, that's the movie. There is a dog. The dog is perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Hangs out with Lance Riddick mostly,
Uh-huh.
which is pretty great. So yeah, that's the
Yeah.
plot. Sam, what do you think of this movie?
This movie is world building.
This movie is relentless,
Mm.
is the word I'm going with. But
Talk
yes.
talk me through that.
Okay, so what everybody loved about the first John Wick is that it ditched a lot of the stuff, the MacGuffins that go into, say, like a Fast and Furious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a action movie where they gotta do plot stuff.
Right.
And like to establish stakes, they have to do kind of a lot of exposition, and they have to take breaks in between action sequences to like work on that. No, 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 no. John Wick 1, they kill his dog and take his car. That's
Yeah,
enough said.
that's it. And now
That's
we
it.
will kill them.
The rest is action movie. This one is the same. It's basically action movie from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
And there are brief world building moments in
Mm-hmm.
between, but it's pretty unrelenting action.
Yeah.
I had a weird response to that this time,
Okay.
in that I was a little out of it. It could have been just that I was watching it at 6 in the morning and was literally out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't fully hooked in.
I kind of ended like I enjoyed it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's a great film.
Yes.
But yeah, I just it was just happening and I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It makes sense to me that you stopped after an hour and were
Yeah.
like, I just want to do something else for a little bit.
Yeah, I just like I enjoy these films a whole lot.
Yeah.
I just didn't really feel like watching it. And I didn't really I don't know. I was like, yeah, I fired an AK today, but I'm pretty tired from firing an AK. And my
Yeah.
shoulder hurts pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't
Is
know. It's still a really good movie.
oh yeah.
I don't think it's weird because in a lot of ways it's tighter than the first one,
Mm-hmm.
but in some ways it's looser. And I don't know how to make sense of that.
I don't really either. I do think that they do a lot of like interesting things with the guns.
Yeah.
They play with guns more in this
Yeah.
one. Like particularly the shotgun.
Oh, the shotguns, okay, so there are moments that are unfailingly, they will get you. They'll get
Oh
you in
yeah.
the zone. In the
Mm-hmm.
shotgun, in the catacombs, perfect.
Yeah, so well done. Just like the way he reloads it, the way he like manipulates it to fight multiple people.
Yeah.
Um, all of it actually works beautifully. It's
Yeah.
incredibly choreographed.
Yeah, a little
Uh,
spoiler. My favorite kill
oh, okay.
in this movie is a little hark back to the horror hut when we talk about our favorite kills.
Oh no, I was gonna ask.
Yeah, yeah. Is he is fighting another dude. I think he whips a pistol out to shoot another guy further down the hall while he's using the shotgun to pin a dude to the floor,
Mm-hmm.
shoots the other guy, and then just obliterates this dude's rib
Yeah,
cage.
and I like in I think a note of how incredibly detailed this movie is that the sound effect of the shotgun going off when it is like pressed into this guy's chest is muffled.
It's muffled, yeah.
And it's like it's this little detail that actually does so much.
Yeah. I think that's a really good window into kind of what I mean about things being tight. This movie's still got the gun fu. It's still wicked tight on the choreography.
Mm-hmm. Wick
There's
it tight.
wicked tight. Yeah, I had a thought and that evaporated.
My
But
bad.
no, it's not your fault. That was good. yeah, I don't know. It's just like the attention to detail is there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is still a John Wick movie. I'm just really curious to see the next one.
I remember the next one having some really high peaks,
Yeah.
but also a little bit of some valleys.
A little bit of some valleys. That's what I'm curious about.
Now, I am very excited for John Wick 4 because I've not seen it. And
Yes.
so I think that'll be fucking righteous.
Yeah, I think that came out after we started this project,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
is bananas
Yeah.
because we've been doing this for a minute.
It was either after we started this or after we decided we were going to do Keanu.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those.
Yeah, one of those. But I do want to know what your favorite kill is.
Okay. So I have there are two things here. There's best
Yeah.
fight and there's best kill.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I can play this game.
Okay. Best fight is with the sumo guy in the park.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely love that the sumo guy throws Keanu Reeves around like a fucking rag doll.
Yeah.
And puts like no effort into it. Like at one point he just kind of like not quite even runs up to Keanu and just gives him like kind of a light look and push, and it sends him through plate glass.
Yeah, it does. It's
like
really good.
In like 10 feet.
Yeah.
So I love that fight because the sumo, like you've got the size discrepancy and the fact that the sumo guy is incredibly strong.
Yeah, he's huge and just as strong as you would expect him to be, if not more so. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, my favorite kill is we get down into the subway station and we're down into the subway track. Yeah. And a man comes up. They're two dudes. They come up. John Wick, I believe, plugs one in the head. That's fine. He does that to a lot of people.
He does a lot of that. Yeah.
However, this guy he gets into hand to hand with, and he does slash his tank.
Yeah.
The tank slash was pretty good.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah.
That's not how you want to go, folks.
No.
No, not a bit. Yeah, I forgot about the taint slash.
The taint slash is seared into my hippocampus.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Now, I want to ask you, because we're talking about ways that you wouldn't want to die.
Yeah.
Pencil. How bad would it feel to just know that you died via pencil?
The pencil was very funny because that was going to be my final quote was this guy walked into a bar and killed three people with a pencil. And then he does that in this movie and it's pretty choice. Well, he does one guy in by jamming a pencil into his throat. He does the other guy in by jamming it into his eye and then pulling it out, putting it in his ear and going that way.
I'm sorry, Luke, you're slightly incorrect. So the second one, that is correct. That one happens first. The second guy who you described first, yes, he does jam it in his throat, but that's not how he kills him.
No, I was getting there, but go ahead and finish it. Yeah.
He kills him by placing the pencil on a wall and then slamming the man's cranium into the pencil.
Right.
With a great deal of force and sending it through, I think, like the hardest part of his fucking skull.
Yeah, it's what number 2 pencils is he slinging?
That's a Ticonderoga.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that, but Ticonderogas are reinforced.
Yeah, steel reinforced pencils. I did, again, attention to detail. I like that at the end of that fight, he's still holding a pencil. And it's like fucked up.
Yeah.
It's got like pock marks and it's covered in blood and it looks like
a little bit of brain on it.
A little bit of brain on it. Like attention to detail. It's all there. I think you'd feel pretty bad.
I think you'd feel pretty embarrassed.
Yeah. Cause like that's not a like having a Ticonderoga shoved straight through your cranium. Is not a Viking way to go.
It is. You're not going to Valhalla.
You're not going to Valhalla on that number.
You're at the door. You're at the door to gates of Valhalla, and you're like, "Hey, can I?" And they're like, "Well, how'd you go?" And it's like, "Oh,
I basically
John Wick killed me." And they're like, "Okay, He's killed a lot of people in here. It is
Yeah.
important how he did it. It's like, a pencil
Yeah.
in my cranium, and they go, "I'm sorry,
Yeah.
no."
I'm sorry. There's three other guys around the corner who we
Mm-hmm.
also didn't let in
Yeah,
that
you
you're
can't
gonna
get
have
in
to
if John
go.
Wick killed you with a pencil. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you're John Wick, you got to feel kind of weird too, because it's like adding two more people to the list of people you've killed with the Ticonderoga. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those two nickels kind of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had a nickel for.
I also wonder if he's ever concerned about like what can't I kill someone with?
Yeah. Uh I imagine he sits around like, okay, so let's say he's waiting at the orthodontist or
Mm-hmm.
something. Because everybody knows John Wick is really concerned about his teeth.
Oh yeah. Hey, dental health is physical health.
Yeah, dental health is super important, y'all. Um, I imagine he's looking around and he's like, I bet I could kill someone with a highlights magazine if I had to. He's
Mm.
like processing,
Yeah. And he's
or
working
like,
through how he'd do it.
yeah, that hand sanitizer dispenser on the wall could probably be used. Could bash someone's brains in with that.
Yes. Um it's
Sorry, it's just thinking about, you know how like these days, if you go to an office for medical stuff, at
Mhm.
least here in the States, they typically give you like an iPad to like do your forms on.
Mhm.
Then you bring it back. I was just thinking about him sitting down with the iPad and telling the person next to him, I could probably kill you with this iPad. Anyway, do you want to be my emergency contact?
I'm a non-smoker. Okay. I think well, do you have a favorite fight?
Favorite fight, I kind of like in the subway when he's fighting the violinist.
Oh, the
Uh,
violinist is good. Yeah.
for no particular reason other than it's a really quick one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really tight. Like you could tell that they had good fight chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
The two actors, Keanu Reeves and this lady, they just did a really good job with it. So pencil fight's probably up there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I want to talk about something
yeah,
with the John Wick films.
yeah.
Because it's something that at least I think is really interesting in that I think the John Wick films had an immeasurable impact on video games.
Okay, yeah,
Because I think prior to the John Wick films, when you played a first person shooter, you just reloaded the gun and it was like not a big deal, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Since the John Wick films, it's like a thing.
Yeah.
Like uh lots of different animations for it. They have games will have animations where you reload quickly, you reload a little slower. They also include now press checks, which you see John Wick do a lot, where he's like kind of opening up the slide or the chamber a little bit to make sure there's a round in there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That used to not be in games. It is now.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that came from these movies is, I believe, what is now just officially called the Wick flick,
Okay.
which is you see it a lot where he's reloading a pistol, right? And he releases the magazine and then flicks the bottom of the gun out
Hmm.
so that the magazine will fly out, and then
Yeah.
he slaps in another magazine and keeps going. That was not in video games before. It is now.
It is everywhere.
It
Yeah.
is everywhere. Everyone's doing Wick flicks.
Yeah.
And it is wild to me that this movie like reshaped first person shooters.
Yeah. Which is weird because, again, two nickels. This is a guy who is in The Matrix, the star of The Matrix,
Mm-hmm.
another movie that had a massive impact on video games.
Yeah.
In some cases, you might argue, should have been a video game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, they had that MMO.
they did have that MMO that no one wants to talk about. No one's talking enough about the Matrix MMO. Um, yeah, I could see that because it's just so fucking stylish the way that this guy handles a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there are accounts on YouTube where the only thing that they upload is different video games and like the different reload animations in
Yeah.
it. Like it'll be a gun pointed to the sky and they're just reloading it.
Yeah.
Or there's I think my favorite is someone has made like stylish reload stuff for like everyday objects.
I've seen these and they're fantastic.
They're wonderful, but I think they are
Mhm.
directly influenced by John Wick.
I think so too. I actually, it's funny you bring those up because that's exactly what was in my head. And it's like, if you haven't seen these, it's a guy who's like reloading a paper towel dispenser
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, but he's doing it like John Wick would in a really
Yeah,
stylish, efficient way.
it's so good.
Yeah, those are fantastic. Yeah, I think they do more of that in this movie than they do in the OG John Wick.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing like a lot of noticeable like Wick flicks or like
Yeah.
press checks or anything. Like in the art museum, there's one point where he like reloads his pistol and then like kind of like flips his hand up to the top and like
Yes,
one-handed like checks it and then like flips it back.
which is so tight.
So tight.
Oh my god, I saw him do that and went, "What?"
Yeah. It's this like smooth motion like he's done it a billion times before.
I think that's what's amazing is like cuz I don't think they didn't increase the body count on this one because how on earth could you
Right.
over the original? He murders a small Eastern European village worth of people.
Yeah.
um But what they did do to up the gun fu, because you got to up the ante somehow,
Hmm.
is introduce these little, like you're saying, like press checks and like the wick flicks and stuff, and it just makes you feel like this is a guy who was born with a gun in his hand.
Yeah. It's the guns are really the second character.
Yeah, you're joking, but they kind of
They
are.
kind of are, is the thing.
If this movie minus guns, yeah,
There's
this
nothing there.
there's nothing there. This is definitely the glue holding this movie together. Uh,
Absolutely.
it is in much the same way that a lot of people say that, Manhattan is what the fifth character in Sex and the City.
Hmm.
Guns are really the second
Yeah.
character of the John Wick movie.
And then there's one other weapon that I want to point out.
Yeah.
And then I have something that I want us to do.
Okay.
Um, so the like lady who the sign language woman,
Yeah. Which is awesome. I just wanted to point out as
very
someone who
cool.
clearly struggles with my own hearing and will probably continue to have that issue.
Hmm.
I'm always really like super hyper aware of like deaf representation in media, and you don't get a lot of it. So having a like major player in this movie exclusively sign stuff,
Hmm.
it's pretty choice. That's really cool.
Do love that John Wick also just knows sign language.
John Wick knows every language. He's
He does.
C3PO. If C3PO could
Could
do the
kill.
funky like one hand press check thing
Uh-huh.
like with a gun.
So it, she at one point pulls a knife on John
Yeah.
Wick during their
Yeah.
fight, and that knife is shaped like a butt plug.
It is shaped like a butt plug, and she
It
does
is a butt
remove
plug
it.
knife.
She pulls it from the back of her pants as
And,
well.
and I want to know why she has a butt plug knife.
I mean, I think the answer is distressingly obvious.
Yeah, pleasure and pain.
Yeah, a little bit of Hellraiser up in there. Is this trip for business or for pleasure, sir? Because I got the
Yes.
implement for both.
Now, now that we've talked about butt plug knife,
Butt plug knife. Yeah, hang on.
I
Let me write down the episode title really quick.
okay.
But you may continue. Yeah.
I think it is time for us to take a brief but deep trip into the Wickverse.
Okay.
because
Yes.
this movie gives us a lot to work with.
Yeah.
Because it introduces the High Table, Kimura,
Hmm.
and also gives us a little more information about the Continentals, because there are multiple Continentals.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if you noticed this, but there there's a statue of, I think, Vishnu in the Continental in New York.
Yeah.
And that to me implies that there is a religious element to the
Oh.
Wickverse, which is insane.
Yeah.
What a wild ass choice to be like, yeah, they also do like have giant statues of Vishnu.
Yeah. I mean, they also have, I mean, there is that scene when he's killing Madame D'Antonio
Mm-hmm.
in Rome where she's like, do you ever fear damnation?
And he says yes,
Yeah.
which is
which is
wild.
which is nuts. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
John
wild
Wick,
one.
God fearing man.
God-fearing man. Which god though?
Which
Is
which God?
yeah.
And why does this extrajudicial assassin government? Why is it seemingly also a theocracy?
Yeah. Now here's what I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, just word of warning. I don't know how much sense the John Wick universe ends up making, but we're gonna do our
We're
damnedest.
gonna do our best. If we can make Toy Story make sense,
Yeah, exactly. If we can make sense of Toy Story, we know Toy Story better than Pixar does
yeah.
at this point.
Especially since they won't answer my fucking emails.
Yeah, they just, Brad Bird will not email you back
Okay,
about toy death, and it's really upsetting. Yeah, so I want to talk about the high table really quick.
yeah.
Because, well, let's loop it back. What percentage of New York is assassins?
It seems like everyone except you and me.
I think it's at least 40%, possibly as much as 99.999%.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because literally everybody gets this text. Is it, or is it just that everybody's on the assassin group text in this universe?
Seems like a poor choice.
Yeah. Maybe it's a recruiting mechanism. Like
Mm,
there's only like 20 active assassins,
yeah.
but they hook you. They are like, sign up for this free course. You'll learn some Krav Maga,
Sure.
and we'll get you on this mailing list. And then they tempt you because churn has got to be pretty big.
Churn seems to be pretty high because
Yeah.
John Wick seems to kill a lot of people who are part of this theocracy, which to my point that it's a theocracy,
Yeah.
it's called excommunicado.
It is called excommunicado. That's a really good point.
They do seem to lose a lot of people though.
Yeah.
And so you do have to constantly be recruiting.
And I think it's pretty easy to recruit because you get people hooked on free Krav Maga,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get them on this mailing list, this text chain, and then you text them and you just say, if you kill this guy, I'll give you $7 million.
And to quote Lawrence Fishburne in this, Morpheus himself, we're going to Applebee's.
We're going to Applebee's after this.
$7 million? That's Applebee's, baby.
I forgot about that. That was a good line.
It's so good.
Yeah, so I think it's almost like an MLM.
It probably is. That's why it was so hard for John Wick to get out. Because you
Yeah.
can't get out of an MLM.
He's got so many people under him. If he breaks the pyramid, then where do those people go, Sam?
Who do they answer to?
They don't answer to anybody. That can't have that.
Now, this brings us, I think, back to the high table.
Yeah.
So what do you have on the high table?
Okay, so the high table is wild
Mm-hmm.
because all right, so in the first one, it makes a lot of sense. There's a hotel for assassins. I can
Mm-hmm.
roll with that.
Yes.
There are enough assassins that need a safe space to get guns and sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and hang out with Lance Riddick,
And the manager
and the manager.
has absolute power.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's one hotel. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
agree with you with that.
Sure.
I guess, okay, it's a natural progression. I take it back. This makes sense because back when you had 10 assassins, let's say 1890,
Mm-hmm.
and organized crime is getting rolling in New York, and you've got,
If I may,
yeah,
can we roll this back to, and I'm just gonna pick a date out of the air.
yeah,
Okay. April 1865. No,
okay,
like notable assassinations in April 1865. Definitely not the president or anything.
sure, absolutely.
But just to pull, a month and a year.
Yeah, I love it. What a deep pull. Now you have fucked up. Um, yeah, so John Wilkes Booth
And his pals.
and his pals, back when you had just sort of a ragtag gang of a handful of people, a single hotel, no government makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
Just Ian McShane, who moved from Deadwood to New
Mm-hmm.
York City,
Yeah.
as we all know, because he's immortal. Um, yeah, but as the MLM grows, as you add more people to the pyramid,
As you kill more presidents.
as you kill more presidents, you need more government.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you can't have is a bunch of loose assassins running around willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they had to set up one. Well, the theocracy works on a number of levels because
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows that the worst part of an MLM is the weak moral center.
Mm-hmm.
And
That is the worst part. There are no other downsides.
no other downsides to an MLM. And what you need is a thick, ethical sort of direction, compass in the
Mm-hmm.
middle, and a government to control the pyramid. So it makes a lot
Exactly.
of sense to me that the high table exists now that we're sort of hashing it out.
Yeah, because you have your continentals, which I feel like are state governments.
Yeah.
And as we all know, as we've seen in the grand American experiment, it is a poor choice to let the states just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
They need to answer to a strong, empowered federal government
Yeah.
fueled by a reasonable fear of Vishnu the Destroyer.
Again, you gotta have a moral fiber in an
Mm-hmm.
MLM is so important.
It's necessary.
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary. This is why Tupperware people
Mm-hmm.
are like really big into like sun
Ball.
worship. Yeah, or ball. Zarathustra. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we all know that the Lululemon people are all Zoroastrians.
Yeah.
Or no, not Lululemon, LuLaRoe.
Yeah. I for a second I was like, yeah, I'd believe it.
Yeah,
Lululemon is resorting to MLM behaviors.
yeah. Lu- Lululemon, I'm very sorry, is an ISIS cult.
Yeah.
Which not
Yeah.
not
Hey,
ISIS the terrorist group.
yeah.
ISIS the ancient Egyptian god. Important.
Yeah. And then Sensi weirdly is all Nordic stuff. They're like
Mhm.
Nordic pagans.
Mhm. Yeah, Loki and Thor
Yeah.
and the like.
Because everybody knows that Thor just loves the scented candle.
Loves a scented candle. When
Yeah.
you're out killing frost giants all day, what you need is to come home to a candle that smells like a nice evergreen forest.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of berry scent, some nice
Mm-hmm.
evergreen notes, a little
Yeah,
bit of eucalyptus. Yeah, what the fuck are we talking about?
the high table.
The high table. Yeah, I think I want to see more. And this has been really helpful in
Yeah.
me getting re-engaged with this series.
What I can't figure out is what the fuck is Kimura?
I guess it's like Cosa Nostra.
I don't know. And then
Okay.
there's this room full of women operators, like telephone operators,
Yes,
who all have the same blouse and the same sleeve on their tattoo sleeve on their right arm.
Yeah, I love these gals.
They're
And
phenomenal.
I wanted to talk about this operating room.
They're trapped out of time.
Yeah, they're all dressed like their 1950s pinups, but they have wicked tattoos. Wicked tattoos. Um, which I think makes sense because basically they are the tech wing of the MLM.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're the people that they don't enforce the bureaucracy. That's for the high table and the managers themselves to do. They are the government agencies.
I see.
In this,
They're
the
your
ones.
EPA.
They're the EPA, ATF, that sort of thing. They're
Your
like
FDA, your USDA, your
yeah,
CDC.
they're the ones that are getting shit done. Now, why they're dressed this way, I don't know.
It has to be part of the theocracy.
Yeah. Well, I guess nuns all dress a certain way. Monks all dress a certain way.
So why not servants of the goddess Vishnu the destroyer?
Yeah. It makes a disturbing amount of sense when you start breaking it down.
God, I hope I'm right that was a statue of Vishnu. Otherwise, boy, do I have egg on my face.
Yeah. Well, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. So, yeah.
Well, you got anything else? Because we are running a little long.
I think that's good. I think we'll take another dive. We'll take a longer dive into the Wickverse next time.
Excellent. Well, let me find out what we're watching next week.
Also, on that note, while you're looking, I think we're 10 weeks away from being done.
We are pretty close. I will say that.
Yeah.
I believe, because I'm pretty sure I checked this.
We have to skip one. There's one to skip.
Yeah. We're not doing this one, which funnily enough also features Common. But Keanu isn't even on like the cast list on the poster. So next week we will be watching 2018's Siberia.
Yeah.
What do you think this one's about?
I think so I have vague details about what this one actually is. I'm going to use those to go. I'm going to swing for the fences like I'm writing a True Blood episode.
Okay.
Which is it's a rom-com, I think.
Okay.
But I think the rom part, the romance, is him falling in love with Mother Russia.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
I think this is straight up Russian propaganda. But for like the USSR, so like it's a little outdated for some reason, and no one can quite explain why that is. But yeah, it's just him reading a lot of like heavyweight Russian literature, eating beets, and falling in love with Mother Russia.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
What do you think this one's about?
So I will say, I think this one has not aged well because Keanu plays Cyrus Beria, also known as Siberia, the inventor of the birria taco.
Of the birria taco.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Weird casting.
Weird casting. Racist casting.
Yeah. Good tacos, though.
Great tacos. Love a birria taco. Just wish when they did the biopic for Cyrus Siberia, that they had maybe chosen someone who was not just a white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, someone Hispanic, ideally.
Yeah.
Someone who looks like Cyrus Beria.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Love it.
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks for listening to another episode of Hanksy Panksy. You can find us on Facebook at Hanksy Panksy Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Hanksy Panksy Pod. We're also on Blue Sky at Hanksy Panksy. You can send us an email at hanksypanksypod@gmail.com. And we got a Patreon, patreon.com/hanksypanksy. Ken and I just played the Oregon Trail over there and uploaded the video of it. So you check that out. It was a fun time, I hope. We had fun. So and we're probably gonna do more of that because we're finding more old games that we liked that we can find for free. So head on over to Hanksy Panksy or patreon.com/Hanksy Panksy. Got some more stuff going up there. And you check us enough money. You can be one of Hanks's heroes, like Tuck and Daniel. And fellas, I would kill you with a pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pros and cons to that.
Pros and cons. Luke, do you have a final quote?
I do, and it is, somebody please get this man a gun.
Excellent. Perfect quote.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, folks, thanks for listening to another episode of Hanksy Panksy Honor Among Reeves. We'll be back next week with 2018's Siberia.